Malika mentioned the deer problem being overpopulated, but we also want to talk about endangered species, the opposite problem. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has now published a recovery plan for 50 different endangered and threatened species across the islands. And the office wants your opinion on their new draft plan. So joining us this morning to talk about it is Gregory A. Koob, the Assistant Field Supervisor for Programmatic Operations. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. We were just from one extreme to the other. We were just talking about the deer overpopulation, but we have 50 different species that are either threatened or endangered right now too. So can you talk about this plan for draft recovery and kind of what goes into that?
Sure. It's our first draft of a document that outlines the criteria the service thinks is needed to get species to the point of getting them off the endangered species list. Many of the species we work with are close to extinction, so our plans also tend to have criteria to first prevent them from going extinct. If they are listed as endangered, it first lists criteria to get them to threatened status, and if they're threatened, it lists criteria to help get them delisted.
And so what goes into, other than breeding and monitoring them, to how do you revitalize a population that is threatened or in danger?
There's a variety of things we can do. It depends on the species. For a lot of the plants, what we can do is collect seeds, grow them in nurseries, and plant them back out into the wild after their habitat has been protected. You mentioned deer. Keeping deer and other non-native animals out of habitats is very important. Controlling fire, controlling the other threats, anything that people can do to keep the threats away from the species, and what the service and other partners can do to increase the numbers of the individuals and the populations.
We kind of have a mix, right? I mean, there's some fish, birds, monk seals. What are kind of the most endangered species right now?
Oh, that's a good question. There's actually 425 listed plants. This plan covers 35 of those. This plan covers an ankyline pool shrimp, 13 insects, including damselflies, picture-wing flies, yellow-faced bees. The plan also covers 2 birds, the Evie and the ake, which is a band-drop storm petrel. So this plan is for just 50 of the more than 500 species we have listed.
And so kind of, how can people get involved, take a look at the draft and maybe include any ideas that they might have?
So private landowners can let us know what they are doing on their property or what they want to do on their property to control these threats. Other people can let us know what they think of the ideas we have in the plan. Are they good ideas? Are they not so great ideas? If they've got better ideas, we'd like to hear those. Gotcha.
And I'm just curious, I mean, there's so many species and we all love animals. I'm just, do you have a particular one that's your favorite or one that you're passionate about?
I can't pick a favorite. It's like picking your favorite child. It's not possible for me to do. All of them are very important to me and the people I work with. So no, I don't. I am a botanist, so plants have a certain hold on my heart, but all of them are very important to me.
Gotcha. And I think, for those of us that aren't scientists, I mean, it's easy to maybe notice animals, when we're out and about and keep track of that. But when it comes to plants, do you have any advice for, what should people look out for with that?
It's good to get to know the plants. Best thing to do is when you're out hiking to stay on the trails, make sure you're not spreading weeds, make sure your dog's on a leash, etc. You don't want to be harming the habitat. We do want people to go out and enjoy the native plants and animals and take pictures as long as you're not getting too close to the plants or tree snails or some of the insects that don't move around very much. Get to know them and appreciate them and give them some respect, basically.
All right, and we got to wrap up, but real quick before you go, where can we find this draft? And if people want to get involved, how can they do that?
You can go to our website, Pacific Islands Fish and Wildlife Service.gov, I believe is the address. Just contact us. We can send you a link to the plan. Otherwise, just Google 50 Hawaiian Archipelago Species Recovery Plan.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here and for the work that you're doing. So many important animals and plants out there to protect. Thanks so much.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, and as he just mentioned, we'll post a link to that website and all the information for you at KITV.com. Meanwhile, we are off for a break. You're watching Good Morning Hawaii. We'll be right back on your Saturday morning.